Dress. And some people might see this, some people might not see this, but this is very real. And that is, we're going back to Chandra Arya, the Indian origin MP of the Liberal Party, vying for the Liberal Party leadership and potentially trying to run for Prime Minister of Canada. Now, many have been confused about why this person is running in the first place. I mean, they don't know French. They've never held a cabinet position. They've been a liberal backbencher for 10 years, and they have voted on, they voted with the Liberal Party every with every single vote that has come through from the Liberal side. So, what is there to offer from this person? How can we trust their judgment? And who are they even? Who are you? Like, where did you come from? Why do you matter? Why would I want to vote for you? You have no credibility. You have no resume. It's just that you look like you're vying for a position for your own ego and you think that you are somehow ready for the job, but I think it's just about your own self and you're just trying to build your own image. I don't even think this is about Chandra running for prime minister. I think he's just trying to get publicity from this for whatever job he's going to take on afterwards. And but the main thing I wanted to talk about here is the coverage he's getting. Of course, he's been getting a lot of heat in the Canadian media side, even from the legacy media. Uh, they have called him out, rightfully so, for not having any credible experience to be considered even for prime minister. And also on top of that, he can't speak French. I mean, he could barely speak English, man. But what I wanted to say though is that he has very strong ties with the Indian government and the Indian media, which is controlled heavily by editors that are in connection with the Modi government. So what I'm going to say here is that looking at these media articles right here. So the Hindustan Times, which is an Indian newspaper, online news distributor, they say man makes fun of Chandra Arya, who joined Canada's PM race, broken English, thick Indian accent. And another article says strong Hindu supporter anti-Khalistan. Who is Chandra Arya, the man in the race for Canada PM Post from India.com. Who is Chandra Arya? The MP joins Canada's PM race and wants people to work longer. See, there's a lot of articles that are coming from the Indian media. And now, sorry, I just put in, here we go. Okay, here's the one article that really stood out to me. This is a newspaper called Mint from India. They are, of course, not a Canadian-based media organization, and they're only reporting about Chandra because he's Indian, of course. They don't care too much about what happens, what the real problems are in Canada or addressing the real concerns in Canada. They're here to address their own agenda, which is, of course, whatever their agenda is the Indian nationalist Hindu agenda that is heavily, heavily supported by the Modi government. It says here, Canadian PM candidate Chandra Arya trolled for Indian accent. Social media refers to Sonia Gandhi. Here's why. And if you're wondering who is to Sonia Gandhi, she's the president of the INC, I believe. She has never been prime minister, but she's president of the Indian National Congress Party. She has ties to the former, I believe, leader of the party, who was her husband, who was also prime minister, and he was assassinated back in the 90s, and after that, she took over as leader of the INC. So, what the idea is here, though, is that they're saying that somehow this man right here, Chandra Arya, a backbencher liberal MP who has very choppy English overall, and let's just put aside his accent, okay, and all that aside, just this pure grammatical sense, we can see that his own how he speaks is not very, very articulate, and I am assuming that is because he hasn't practiced English or practiced it enough, and probably continues to speak in his native language primarily. And why I'm pointing this out is because they try to draw a contrast here to that INC president, Sonia Gandhi, who is an Italian born but married the Indian Prime Minister, or at that time, Indian Prime Minister. And she can't speak Hindi very well. But and they're saying that she was very close to becoming the Prime Minister of India. And that it doesn't matter that he can't speak French. He's a choppy English. And it doesn't say anywhere in Canada's laws that he has to be a Canadian born. So if India is able to accept Sonia Gandhi, then why isn't Canada able to accept Mr. Chandra Arya? Now, you have to remember here, Sonia Gandhi was associated with a former Prime Minister of India, and she was his wife, and that was a very strong political pact and political organization. Why she was even in position to run was because the Gandhi family, which was not the Gandhi of 1948, but the Gandhi of Joel Nehru's family, their family had, you can say, a political monopoly over India's politics. So, naturally speaking, if we're talking about monopoly politics, then that's why she was in power to begin with. It's like, okay, your father is the prime minister. The father was then handing over the reins to the daughter. Then the daughter handed over to her son, and that son was assassinated. And now who's left in the line is his wife, because her son, Sonia Gandhi's son, was not old enough to run for the prime ministership. And actually, if we're talking about modern times today, he is running for prime ministership. So you can see what I'm getting at here is that there's a political monopoly over the so-called democracy in India in the INC. That's not how we operate in Canada. So this is a very manipulative comparison to make by the Indian media. But why they're making this in the first place is because they want to push this candidate who's associated with Hindu nationalism and strongly associated with the Hindu nationalist Modi. And by doing so, they're attempting to, what you can say, interfere in Canadian politics by putting in their own special interests into the mix. They know he won't win, but they're trying to create discourse. They're trying to create a positive feedback for their agenda. And their Indian media is behind it. And who's behind their media in India is Modi. That's what I'm saying. This is not a democratic candidate here. He has strong special interests behind him from India. Chandra Arya is backed by the Indian government, the Indian media. He's not acting in the best interest of Canadians. He's here for his own agenda and acting in the interest of his special interest groups back in India. That's why it's not only embarrassing, but it's pathetic that he thinks we can't see through this. He thinks that he can glide over that very apparent bias and very apparent association he has with India. And he will be destroyed in the media, as he has already been, but destroyed on social media, destroyed in the public media. And I just wanted to point that out to make it apparent to everybody who's looking at this guy and looking at the Liberal Party leadership race that this is where he's coming from. And to not get confused by his rhetoric that he's saying that he might be acting, hoping for the best for Canadians and whatnot. No. I can tell you for sure, by looking at the media press he's getting from the Indian side of the world, he is definitely being backed by special interests there. And that is probably the primarily the reason he is running in the first place, to represent those special interests. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this analysis, and please consider liking, sharing, and subscribing to the channel. And remember to also leave a comment down below your thoughts and opinions on this issue. Thank you very much and have a wonderful day.